US passes China and now has the most coronavirus cases worldwide, declares ConsumerAffairs.com. Comment on a misleading article. This headline is typical of the misleading statements around coronavirus. The presumption must be that the US now has coronavirus worse than China, indeed the world. Nothing could be further from the truth. 84% of cases before China's experience was over and regional figures became redundant was from one province, Hubei. The US and most other countries long surpassed China's cases per million, but they are only a small fraction of Hubei's cases per million. Far from leading the world with the world's highest number of cases, the US is in fact lagging. In cases per 100 million population, the US is middle ranking with only 16% of highest ranking Italy and 17% of Hubei. Notice these four countries in particular: Italy, Norway, Germany and Hubei province. Hubei is finished, flat. Italy, Norway and to a degree Germany are all markedly curled over, indicating a decreasing rate of new cases. Barring relapse as occurred in Norway, Italy and Germany are past their peak. Their crisis is over. The contagion will run its course. Current projection for Italy is 263,000 cases per 100 million, or 1 in 383 people. With such a pronounced curve, that figure should be reasonably accurate. By mid-April, Italy, Germany and Norway will most likely be able to look upon the coronavirus crisis as history with a trickle of new cases per day. The US, UK and Canada, which have all emphasized avoidance and delay, have achieved the delay without, it seems, the avoidance. The likely outcome is probably no worse than Italy, looking at current trajectories, but delayed around 18 days, more perhaps with the UK in lockdown. By entering lockdown with peak cases imminent, the UK has brilliantly extended the agony and delay to be endured. Tracking the country's experience is not onerous. It is obvious that most are headed for a Hubei-level experience or similar. Whether it's twice Hubei or half Hubei is barely material. Hubei affected 1 in 872 citizens in that province. Italy is projected to affect 1 in 383 citizens. This is not going to affect everybody unless you live in the UK, where the UK Chief Medical Officer has alerted the media to 80% infection. Or in the US, where a Mr. Garcetti had this to say. "No matter where you are, this is coming to you," Garcetti said. "Everybody is the new whatever the worst city is right now. Take all the measures you can now to make sure people are home." Alarmist? Certainly not. A totally reasonable statement when 1 in 383 Americans might be affected, as in Italy, or 1 in 872 Americans might be affected, as in Hubei. And bear in mind that based on UK Hubei-style death rates of 5%, that's 1 in 7,660 Americans might die, or 1 in 17,440 Americans might die. Does that sound like a terrible risk? Let's put that into percentages, and then compare to something: ordinary mortality. Affecting 1 in 872, 0.115%. Of those dying, 0.006% against a mortality rate typical for a Western civilization of 0.92%. Normal life is 162 times more dangerous than coronavirus in Hubei. For Italy, affecting 1 in 383, 0.261% affected, 0.013% dying versus 0.92%. Normal life is 70 times more deadly than the coronavirus in Italy. Yes, you should stay home because something less dangerous than ordinary life by a factor of 70 to 160 is coming to almost certainly not get you, and far less than anything you're facing today like cars, guns, disease or suicide, it isn't going to come close to killing you either, except for the few it does. Coronavirus is like life, only far less dangerous. That's fact. As a final treat, if you think it's bad in the US, try living in the UK right now, where our Chief Medical Officer has scared the wits out of the entire population. 80% infection rate, maybe 10 to 20% develop symptoms, but the media didn't mention that, and 1% die. That's 53 million infected and 530,000 dead. No wonder we're in lockdown, but compare that to the chart of reality with China, Hubei, Italy, Norway showing that 100,000 cases per 100 million, or 1 in 1,000 cases, is far more likely for cases. But to really put it into perspective, let's do what social media do and the government does. Use a linear, not logarithmic scale. Where'd reality go? Oh my God, that's it, flattened, invisible, out of sight at the bottom of the chart. A suitable metaphor for the times. Is it any surprise that Britons went into lockdown meekly when their parent government assured them that such an extreme threat was real? Anybody old enough to remember WMD? If you choose to deconstruct your society, do so as a free choice to model something better. Decisions made out of fear and poor analysis tend to be bad decisions. It's not difficult to check these numbers, and being properly informed is the best antidote to the fear virus that is being actively pushed right now. That truly is a pandemic. Your immune system is the best defense against the coronavirus. Your brain is the best defense against the fear virus. Use both, trust both, strengthen both. You're going to die. That's just life. It's just exceedingly unlikely that coronavirus is the thing that's going to kill you. Thank you for listening or watching. Feel free to get in touch, Andrew@peerlessreads.com or Andrew@amather.com. Either should get to me.